When I was a little kid in the early 2000s, all I ever wanted was that new Sony PlayStation. All my friends had one, and when I got home from playing a bit of the first Crash Bandicoot at a friend's place, I was obsessed. One day I came home from a long hard day of preschool, and there it was, lying in the middle of the lounge, a new PlayStation 1. It was a dream come true, and sure enough, the disc for my very first console game was lying there. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. I was overcome with excitement, and over the next few years, I cherished that console, as many of the million gamers out there did. Those were the years. Every day I couldn't wait to rush home and play the latest Ratchet and Clank, or Jak, or Tekken, or even Need for Speed. It was a beautiful time before the game industry exploded into what it is today. And now here I am, sitting with my PC, wishing I had a PS4, seriously considering treating myself to one in the near future. No one here can disagree that Sony is killing it right now with their exclusives, and it's tearing me apart. In this video, I discuss the success and downfalls of the PS4 and why it's attracting the mainstream gaming community. Now, I'm not saying that PS4 is better than Xbox, and this video is not about that everlasting debate. It is rather a look at why sales for the PS4 have skyrocketed recently and how Microsoft is attempting to keep up with the competition. Now, I'm not a PS4 fanboy. Other than my childhood where I owned PS1 and 2, in my teenage years I got my hands on the 360, and I don't regret that at all. I love my Xbox. Some of my fondest gaming memories are that of Halo and Fable. It was an introduction to proper online multiplayer too, so my time was well spent. I'm focusing on the current generation consoles. PlayStation 4 has surpassed the Xbox One on many levels, and vice versa, but that's not the point here either. Hardware aside, one of the main reasons the PS4 is a top seller is the killer exclusives that are drawing people into Sony's way of things today. And I'm not surprised. Sony has many publishing deals with veteran developers such as Insomniac and Naughty Dog, and this appeals to me on a personal level since they made part of my childhood, which I'm sure they did for millions as well. And now with games like Uncharted, The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and the upcoming Spider-Man, it really does attract such a variety of audiences. Not only because of nostalgia, but because the games released by these developers are consistently good. Now, I'm not saying Xbox has no good exclusives or good developers. Forza, the Halo series, Gears of War, and Sunset Overdrive, which is the exception to Insomniac, are also amazing. But it's just not enough to keep up with the Sony's variety. This is the reason why the PS4 is doing so well. These are always highly rated blockbuster AAA games. Take the new Spider-Man game as a prime example. Although it is not released, it will be a wildly successful and brilliant game. Why? Whilst it has an extremely low chance of being a bust, Insomniac has always delivered on their promise of quality, but it is more the timing that is impeccable. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is at its all-time peak at the moment with Infinity War, and to get a publishing deal with Marvel and release a Spider-Man video game inspired by the new Tom Holland Spider-Man and his solo debut Homecoming means it will allow sales for the game to spread like wildfire. Personally, the game is one of the reasons why I want the console so goddamn badly. I love the old Spider-Man games back on my PS2. And when looking at the gameplay itself, it looks like the epitome of what a Spidey game should be. Cinematically, it looks astounding, with silky smooth animations, great voice acting, and a vast, great looking open world. And then there is the recently released God of War, which I'm sure many of you have seen countless times. As someone who loves movies as much as I do, I am desperate to get my hands on it. It is a cinematic masterpiece and a technical marvel. What sets it apart from many other games is its continuous shot approach and the chemistry between Kratos and his son. It's these sorts of narratives that transform the game industry to have a more meaningful content. Powerful narratives that make gamers have a breathtaking single-player experience, rather than just a competitive multiplayer. And if that's not enough, we are still to see games like Days Gone, The Last of Us 2, and Death Stranding. Exciting stuff. Sony has been in the console industry a lot longer than Microsoft. It's just a clear fact. The PlayStation 1 and 2 are among the highest selling consoles of all time, and the PlayStation 1 was released before Microsoft's first console attempt at the game industry. Sony brought about a massive fan base around the world in the late 90s, and since they are still going strong today, the PS2, PS3, and now PS4 just appealed to more who grew up with the influence of Sony. They know this too. Over the past few years, they have been releasing remasters for some of the best titles on their very first platform, like Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy and Spyro Reignited Trilogy. There's also been remasters in the form of PlayStation collections for the PS3 for games like the previous God of Wars and the Resistance collection. It is exciting to see so many games that are being remastered, and this is only the beginning. Way back when the PS4 and Xbox One was released, there was a lot of clutter and confusion on the Microsoft side. This was primarily the DRM fiasco. From the beginning, Sony advertised that the PS4 would allow used game replayability and no required internet connection, which appealed to a much wider audience. There was a substantial backlash, and Microsoft made the decision to repeal the whole DRM system and take a step back. The correct move, with unfortunate timing. This allowed for the PS4 to start off a lot better, and in conjunction with no forced bundles like Xbox and Kinect, it took the lead. This is not to say the Xbox One is bad, however. I must reiterate that Xbox One is a great console which just had a rocky start. Microsoft did recover very well, and its sales are still steady just like the PS4s today. I will stop here, as most know about the events of the two consoles back in 2013. This is the one downfall I will speak about regarding the PS4. I have praised it enough, and it's time for a little bit of Xbox spotlight. While PS4 has been flexing its awesome exclusives and bulging nostalgia, it falls short in one big area that Xbox has still got the lead in. I'm talking about backwards compatibility. Whilst PlayStation has those remasters, Xbox has smaller, mini remasters that essentially are previous generation games. This allows access to a huge library of classics and great games only available on the Xbox and the Xbox 360. And I will look at one key example to explain why it is important. One of the best games of 2010, Red Dead Redemption, was one of my favorites, and for many others as well. I hate that it's not on PC, and never will be, although PC emulation is getting there. But to see it running in 4K on the Xbox One X is really cool. It is a great game to keep in your library, and it means a lot to a lot of people. But not only Red Dead, but games like Halo Reach, Fable, and the second Witcher are amazing to see running on current gen consoles. This is essential for those who do not have PCs as well. But aside from backwards compatibility, Sony is still doing a magnificent job at keeping the game industry happy and giving them what they want. Again, Xbox is doing fantastically as well, but it is really those exclusives and nostalgic edge that gives Sony the advantage here. I am very excited to see what's in store for the PlayStation family and consoles as a whole in the future. I have received some great feedback from the community so far on my new channel, and it's been awesome. I'll continue to upload these kinds of videos, and I do hope you continue to enjoy them. Thank you kindly, Tash Talks.